Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Intentional Living podcast with myself, Marty Keller, and John Donovan. Hello, John. Good afternoon.
Hey, Marty.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And good to see everybody who's watching, listening. The Intentional Living podcast is about breaking patterns of behavior that I say I don't want, and nonetheless, I continue to do them. So, for example, have you ever hurt somebody that you loved and later regretted it and then hurt them again, often in the same way? Or have you ever
hmm
been in the middle of an argument with someone and realized you were on the wrong side of the argument, but you continued to take that stand anyway? Or have you ever known that you were about to do or say something that you would regret? Maybe even heard the little small voice in your head saying, "Don't go there." And yet you found yourself unable or unwilling to stop? Well, these are examples of those kinds of behaviors that we feel compelled to do even when our conscious mind says, don't go there. So, in this podcast, we examine and uncover these subconscious obstacles to what we want. We learn to befriend them, to make them allies in manifesting the life we actually do want at our deepest levels of our hearts to live. And we have been John, you and I have been sharing ideas about this for 6 years now, and
hmm
we continue to plow new ground, which I think is kind of cool. So it reminds me of a gentleman named Charles Fillmore, who was with his wife co-founder of the Unity School of Christianity that I belong to. And one of the reasons I started going to that church was because Charles Fillmore said that he reserved the right to change his mind about doctrine.
Ah,
And having come out of the Catholic tradition, which is a little more hidebound and strict, I found that very refreshing. And all that meant to me is that he and his colleagues were continually open to learning new things
right.
as we are here in the intentional living process.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you and I have been on a mission over the course of the last 3 or 4 months to take a look at all of the principles of recovery that we have found and enunciated in our intentional living practice. Principles that are statements of fact, pointing the way to recovery, pointing the way to befriending ourselves, pointing the way to learning compassion and self-love. And I don't know, I don't know if I've ever counted the total number of them. Some like 20 of them, 20 odd principles. And last week we spent some time going over a principle that enunciated that nothing is wrong. And that's quite a conversation, and it's an ongoing conversation because we've been so habituated as human beings to believe in right and wrong, black and white, good and bad, and all those kinds
Yep.
of things, which all have their place in our lives and our history. But in recovery, it's important for us to accept ourselves just the way we are and not see ourselves as right or wrong, but just see this is the way it is. And all recovery starts with being willing to accept ourselves the way we are. In 12 steps, Alcoholics Anonymous, the first step is just basically accept I'm a drunk and I'm powerless over drink. And when I'm willing to own that, I actually enter into the possibility of not being a drunk and not drinking anymore. So all of these principles are designed to help us uh, see ourselves as we are, accept ourselves as we are, and the nothing's wrong principle really distills that down in two very simple words. And so before we move on to the next one, I just wanted to see if you had any comments about the nothing's wrong that we didn't cover, or any other uh, thoughts that have crossed your mind since the last time we got together.
Nothing good statement crosses my mind right now. Nothing comes up, so let's go
Okay.
ahead and get into it.
Okay. So I'm going to put the principles up on the share screen. Uh, I I'm not gonna read them all, which I have done in many of our podcasts, but just to show people that it starts out with I'm always getting what I want, and it runs through a number of different insights and observations. And the last couple of weeks, we looked at what you fight against, you strengthen. And as I just noted, nothing is wrong was our last conversation. So the next principle, John, is when I'm defending myself, I'm participating in my own oppression. When I'm defending myself, I'm participating in my own oppression. That's another one of those that seems on the surface a little bit counterintuitive. And so maybe we could start out this conversation by asking you to share what you hear or what that means to you. When I'm defending myself, I'm participating in my own oppression.
Yeah, yeah. If somebody um, uh, calls me a name or infers something about me um, that isn't true, like that I've reconciled inside myself. Like if somebody said, "John, you're a liar,"
Right.
and I know I've been through my recovery. I know that one of the avoidant tactics and coping skills was the ability to lie or bend the truth or only tell half truths. So I've owned that. I'm a liar. So if somebody said, "John, you're a liar," and I go, "Well, yeah, yeah, I'm working on it," um, and I'm seeing that it's better to be honest than it is to tell a falsehood. I don't have to defend it. Now, before my recovery, if somebody called me a liar, I would engage
Right.
ad nauseum to prove to them that I wasn't a liar. And I'd have to actually make up some lies to prove to them that I wasn't a liar because it wasn't in my conscious mind that, um, well, that I lied. I knew I was a liar, but or lied, but that was because I had to, or it wasn't really my fault. Somebody else was. So anytime I'm defending myself, no matter what anybody accuses me of, um, I'm participating in my own oppression. One of the other, one of my other colleagues at the jail had this story he told about slavery. When slavery was going on in the United States, there was a guy that somebody called because he was having trouble with the slaves getting together and not wanting to do what he wanted them to do, stay slave. So he brought in the idea of creating different um, privileges in the slave trade. So, there was the house slave who had it better than the field slave, and he created this adversarial position. So they fought amongst each other in an attack defense mode, and they were manageable. Well, um, I don't know if there's any conspiracy theorist out there, but if there is a conspiracy, I'm not saying there is, about keeping us from something or oppressed or whatever they may be. If I'm always fighting with you, I'm not looking at, if I'm defending myself, I'm not being proactive in my creativity and my authenticity and my capacity to be inclusive, which I now classify as living a rich, abundant, full life. Um, and I was in the defense mode or attack mode the majority of my life before my recovery, and well into my recovery, I was still doing that type of behavior. Um, so I made that a principle of accountability, of intentional living. When I'm defending myself, I'm participating in my own oppression, and hopefully we can. There's a lot of material, a lot of nuances about this that we'll get into and talk about.
Yeah, I appreciate that. One of the first things that jumps into my mind is, and there is a lot here, is goes back to when I first was getting acquainted with the accountability practice and working with you in our men's group. That whenever I would feel attacked or criticized, and I would get that flare up of angry energy, which is to the wounded child, that's like the defensive wall goes up.
Hmm.
Um, I came to understand that defensiveness was there in part to keep myself away from awareness of some of my own beliefs, psychodynamics,
Perceived
behaviors,
inadequacies.
all that stuff. And
Yeah.
so um, the key to the key to all of this, to dealing with these defenses, is what we talked about last week, which is nothing's wrong. I'm willing to, so I'm willing to see that I might be a liar without blame or judgment, to go to the example that you used,
Right.
to um, be willing to own the possibility of what AA calls character defects or problematic beliefs or even behaviors that have stemmed from those problematic beliefs, and to just take a look at them and go, okay, um, I'm willing to consider them a liar.
Hmm.
So if I don't do that, when I don't do that, I'm reinforcing that defense, that inner child, wounded child defense that is predicated on avoiding the actual truth. That's
Correct.
because my wounded kid wants to maintain that defense at all costs. And so if I let a little bit of light in, that might undermine the defense. And the wounded child does not know, cannot know that there actually is freedom on the other side of letting go of those defenses.
Correct.
And so that's what I, as the recovering adult, choose to take on. So for me, when we say when I defend myself, I'm participating in my own oppression. That's the first thing that comes into my mind, which is that um, the defense just builds up the defense. It reinforces the defense, and therefore I'm still in that prison that a wounded little child created in order to feel safe from the threatened abandonment that we all are defending against at that age.
Yes. Yeah. Um, the the reality of the child, the trauma, abuse in the form of emotional, verbal, and sometimes physical, corporal abuse, um, especially the emotional and verbal, um, was fracturing. Um, and I I had to comply to survive, or I had to stuff something, not say something, withhold something in order to survive, in order not to be punished more. And the thing I remember is, just say the truth. It's better than lying. Well, in my in my estimation, yes, I broke that, got me punished, and lying about it got me in an argument about being punished, or the punishment was delayed. Something happened that the lie was more advantageous to me than telling the truth, even though they told me the truth would be better. Uh, I
Well,
didn't experience that.
because sometimes we could get away with the lie.
Yeah, 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 and not have to experience the humiliation, ridicule, name calling, inferences, in that we were not capable or inadequate or stupid or greedy or self-serving, self-centered, and Catholic thing is, because if you did commit them in the Catholic, they got the sins, graded like the mortal sin is, hellbound, period.
Yeah.
No talking, just
Nice
hellbound,
knowing
period.
you.
And then they had the venal, the ones, civil cases, not the criminal cases.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
so it just stands to reason that I wouldn't want to be tagged with something that was so damning. So I actually lied so much as a child, I came to believe the lies. Like, as an adult, I would tell all my friends, I'm a nice guy. Just don't fuck with me. It's like a nice guy. Number one, a nice guy doesn't have to say, I'm a nice guy. And that just don't fuck with me is not very nice. In fact, it's a threat.
Yeah.
So, in that context, I'm lying. I'm lying to myself. Uh, and the sad part about it is I actually came to a place where I believed it. I'll give you the shirt off my back. I'm that kind of guy. I'm that kind of guy. I don't keep score, although it does say in the Bible, if I give you one, I'm going to get 10 back. So I'll give you one too. Where's my 10-20? Wait a minute. This is not working out. It's not fair. I'm giving you the shirt off. Then I use this as a threat. I'm giving you the shirt off my back, and you turned your back on me. All this stuff, defense, offense, unnecessary. So, um, and I can feel my body going into adrenaline when I get that resistance to what I hear somebody say. And now I'm at the point in my life that I actually invite, uh, I want to say, get excited about the awareness that I just went into a defense mode, because that tells me, I can take this to the tree. I've got skills and practices that whatever's in there prompting the defense or the adrenaline rush is addressable now because I've spotted it. I've got a good picture of it now. Um, I was working in the jail, and we would do this exercise where one of the guys would get up in front of the other guys, and I say, we're going to give this guy feedback, and we're going to say things that we see in him that's standing in the way of him having a relationship with the person he says he loves, like loser, wannabe. Now, the guy standing up in front will hear some of the things, and it won't mean anything. It'll just pass through. But the ones you're defending, you'll feel this like you want to push back. So the guy standing in front of the room, arms down to the side, don't shake your head, don't nod your head, just listen. And notice what happens in your body when you hear these words like loser, wannabe, liar, thief, um, abusive, mean, whatever the words were. Um, and we'd have enough time in the group to where a couple of guys would be able to do it. And I told them, whatever you say about the guy standing up may or may not be true about him. If you see it and you say it, it is true about you because you recognize it. So be careful about exposing yourself and be honest too, what you see in this guy. And it was amazing at the end of this class, the class would actually be cohesive. They would connect. There was this lightness about, and they were calling each other or saying, punk, um, liar, thief, wannabe, um, thrown away, thrown to the curb, no good. And the guys would experience themselves with these words. The ones that they were defending, they would like want to puff up, stand up on. They could feel it hit them. The ones that they had dealt with, that they understood about themselves, because we're all human, we all have faults, and I'm okay with who I am and how I operate. And the ones that would go through, they could see that in that defensive posture, it led to them somehow, some way, doing whatever crime they did to get themselves in jail. Like, you're no good, you can't provide for the family. So it goes out and robs somebody. Okay. Just, okay, you're no good, you can't provide for the family. Yeah, I'm working, I need help. But that's way different than screw you, I'll watch me, I'll show you I can provide for the family and do whatever it takes to provide for the family. Only that's not keeping the family safe. That's putting the family at peril. So, yeah, whatever you defend, when you're defensive, you're participating in your own oppression.
Another aspect of this that's occurred to me is that when I defend myself against something that you say, I'm essentially giving you my power.
Yes.
I'm giving my power away to say who I am.
Right.
So again, no blame or judgment. Nothing. If I want to give my power away, then I give my power away. But in this case, I want to notice that that's what's happening. And it's related, I think, to the people pleasing aspect of the wounded child. We talk about many times that the defense consists of fight, flight, freeze, or please. And people pleasing is one of the ways that we try to defend against pain, separation, abandonment. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if I'm really, really nice to you, you won't abandon me.
Correct.
But when I do that, I'm giving away the power to say who I am.
Right.
And
And I'm abandoning myself.
self-abandonment, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when we say that when I defend myself, I'm contributing to my own oppression, that's another way to understand it. That's another dynamic at play there.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Now
like I
there
say,
are.
ultimately, what we're working on here is learning to say who we are with confidence and commitment,
Correct.
and to take that power back from anybody that we may have given it away to.
Right. And we're talking in the context of relationships. Now, if
Yes,
I'm walking down the street and somebody comes at me with a knife, I'm defending myself. I'm picking up a 2x4. I'm defending myself.
you bet.
Okay. This is in the context of relationships, family units, coworkers, um, and it's not an absolute. If somebody's coming at me with dire intent, I am going to defend myself, and that's I want to say that's also participating in my own oppression, but that's on a higher level. Um, um, and the example I got is Christ didn't defend himself, and that's pretty scary thought to be capable of doing that. So
There's yet another aspect of this to consider, and it may be related to what you just said, which is that when someone calls someone else a name, labels them, uh, that very likely we're dealing with that person's projection.
correct.
So if you call me a liar, um, I may be if I've sufficiently advanced in my recovery, I may go, oh, I wonder why you're worried about being a liar.
Mm-hmm.
I may not say that out loud, but I may just go, ooh, maybe I'm living with projection here. Someone else's projection's none of my business.
And another aspect of this, if somebody lies to me and then I attack them for lying, that's another aspect of this thing. Now, in my, I want to say, mature capacity, having done this for so long, if somebody's lying to me, what I understand is that they're simply offering me information. And depending on the situation in a classroom situation, we have an agreement that we're going to discuss these things. If I'm going over to my daughter's family's house, we don't have that agreement. I'll just go, oh, that's interesting. And then I move to my own well being. I don't engage or try to prove them wrong, or um, I'm willing to not cause a scene, or I don't know how I'm saying this. I'm not willing to engage in fixing
Right.
them.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're offering me information about what I want to do in relationship to them. Okay. So
Yeah.
some people lie by exaggerating. Yeah, that guy's pretty bombastic. Nice deep breath. And then I'll maintain my own space, my own center, um, regulate my emotions, deal with my frustration, and just I choose to be honest and compassionate. And we don't know how it's going to turn out, other than it's not going to turn out like it did before my recovery, where I would like make sure that guy knew that I know that he, all that stuff, drama, chaos stuff. I don't need that in my life
Well,
anymore.
and notice what happens when we do that. We continue or we maintain separation from the other person. Now, you pointed out that we're talking about relationship here,
Right,
and my wounded child is committed to staying safe and to avoid intimacy of any kind
right,
as one of the ways to stay safe. If
right.
if I keep myself separate from you, you can't hurt me.
Correct.
And so, if I defend myself, I'm participating in my own oppression is an because that activity is another form of separation rather than leaning into what's really going on here. If someone accuses me of something and I get defensive, I just immediately call that guy a jerk or that gal a jerk, and there's a gulf between us,
Right,
and I no longer have any possibility of intimacy. I've no long any possibility of authentic friendship, connection, joy.
hmm, yeah,
And again, that's the long-term strategy of our wounded children is to stay safe by keeping, if I can't control a relationship, staying out of it.
correct. Yeah. Instead of building the capacity to maintain and sustain long-term loving, caring relationships through dialogue
Yeah,
and conflict, resolving conflict, seeing the conflict as fodder for our connection.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah. And one last comment I want to bring up before we run out of time here is that this applies, I think, on a collective scale as well. I mean, you think about the fact that we've been living through in our culture through years of name calling. You're a racist, you're a sexist, you're a communist, you're whatever. Um, and if we when we get defensive against those things, we're again behaving in that same world where I'm cutting off the possibility of relationship. I'm into separation, and that those things that operate on a personal scale also operate on a collective social scale.
Yes. Yeah.
And the key to changing them, however, on the social scale is to start here.
Correct. Yeah. One person at a time.
Yeah, because I don't control anybody else.
No,
I've tried to control you all these years, John, but this doesn't work.
this doesn't work. Yeah. Okay.
So, as we wrap up our conversation, any last thoughts before we close down?
This was a milestone for me when I got that defensiveness was participating in my own oppression. It gave me insight into conflict resolution, having a discussion about difference of opinion, all kinds of things that now are doable for me that weren't doable before. So,
You know, and you, as you were talking, one thing just jumped into my mind is one of the phrases that you taught me and taught us, I think is pertinent here, which is if you call me a liar, the way to not be in defense is to say something like, okay, I'm willing to be a liar.
mhm.
So that I'm willing to phrase is essentially a sidestepping any provocation that an attack on me might be involved with by simply being willing to, okay,
To
maybe,
consider
yeah,
that, yeah, that I just lied. Oh, okay.
maybe
Whoa,
that's
what do you
true.
hear me say? Yeah, yeah. Oh my
And
God.
I'm gonna accept that without blame or judgment. If it's true, then I intend to examine that and make a different decision. So that I am willing to phrase that you taught us is probably useful here as we struggle with how do I stop defending myself when I feel that energy arising from an
Mhm.
attack. Again, attack could be even much more subtle than that. Like one of the examples that you've used in our conversation is, you know, you come home late and your wife goes, "Where the hell have you been?"
Yeah.
And you feel that energy arising, and you could go, "Oh, you know what? I really screwed up here."
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
not defending.
No.
And if I own up the possibility that I really did screw up here, I'm keeping in relationship with my wife rather
Yes.
than cutting it off and saying, "What do you mean? I don't owe you. I don't have to cut
Yeah.
whatever the
Whatever that.
defensive uh, energy might say."
Yeah. Very good.
Cool. Well, everybody, we appreciate your joining us for this conversation. The intentional living work is done best in group, and the group practices are available on Zoom. There are facilitated meetings from an hour to 2 hours. Each one is a little bit different, and information as to the day and time and the Zoom address for each of those meetings that we have, the 4 meetings we have every week, are going to be available at the end of the podcast. So please feel free to join us and discover for yourself how to use these tools to create the life that you want to be living.
Correct. Thank
And
you,
with
Marty.
that, thank you, John. We'll see you next week.
Mhm. You got it.